Here's your First Warn weather forecast first. Sponsored by Anderson Collision Center. Visit driveanderson.com.
It was a warm and windy day across the state line today. Our temperatures with the southerly direction in that wind made their way up into the mid-80s for many of us. They're still very warm here late into the evening. Even as of 10 o'clock, many spots in the mid-70s. 75 now in Rockford, 76 in Freeport, 75 Savannah, and 77 in Janesville. A little bit cooler down in DeKalb. They're currently sitting at 71 degrees. A cold front sitting off to our northwest will start to push through the area, flipping our wind direction around as we head through the night tonight, but it's not going to bring us much in the way of precipitation. Main rain chances staying off to our north, but it will bring us a cooler air mass for tomorrow. It will still be windy as that air mass takes place. I'll let you know how long those winds are going to stick around and how long it takes before we warm back up again. Coming up in your most trusted forecast a little later.
Walking to remember and to honor. Rock Valley College hosting a breast cancer awareness walk and raising money to help those battling. Plus, one local brewery uses this warm day to celebrate Oktoberfest, the fun and competition to be had at Urban Forest. And a popular home in the Forest City celebrates 90 years, all to see and how you can visit the Funderburg House.
Live from WTVO 17, this is Eyewitness News at 10.
Good evening, I'm Rianne Weil. Thanks for joining us tonight. All month long, we're highlighting those making a difference for breast cancer awareness. This morning at Rock Valley College, the American Cancer Society hosted its Making Strides Against Breast Cancer Walk. Blake Dietz brings us the details.
Making strides against breast cancer, one step at a time. Rock Valley College's campus was flooded with pink as thousands came out for a walk benefiting the American Cancer Society's fight against breast cancer. Samantha Fillmore and her family walk every year in remembrance of her mother.
We wish Mom was here, because she would go around, get all the little knickknacks and all the little raffle baskets and stuff. So just being here, I feel closer connected with her. I know that she'd be really happy to have this banner, celebrating her and everything. So I just hope we're doing her proud.
Not everyone is walking in memory. Some are celebrating a loved one beating the disease. Inez Moreno and friends formed Chi-Chi Chulas to celebrate a friend now cancer-free. Breast cancer death rates have decreased steadily since 1989, with an overall decline of 42% through 2021.
We beat the statistics. So another survivor. It's a good accomplishment, We're doing this to celebrate her life, and her friendship for more years to come.
Over 300,000 new cases of breast cancer are diagnosed in the U.S. every year. Though outcomes continue to improve, thanks to walks just like this, says Emily Lipinski of the American Cancer Society.
Events like these helps the American Cancer Society fund research, so we're able to have the best treatment and detection methods ready for the next person who's diagnosed with cancer. Roughly 2,000 individuals will raise a little over $200,000 today to help in the fight against breast cancer.
That means more celebrations for more survivors.
1, 2, 3, go!
Reporting in Rockford for your home team, I'm Blake Dietz.
More October festivities as Urban Forest Craft Brewing held its 4th annual Oktoberfest today. Visitors had lots of food, live performances, and of course beer with them today. There were also stein holding competitions, and employees were brewing fresh beer outside for customers to enjoy. The company has been open since 2020 and says this is one of their favorite celebrations.
We wait to debut our Oktoberfest lager for the Oktoberfest party. It kind of sets us apart from a lot of the other places that have already done their Oktoberfest and gotten that out of the way. But it's my favorite time of year for beer because it starts to get malty and a little more robust and a little more flavorful. It's not just your yellow fizzy lagers.
Kondo says the fall is the best time to get together and celebrate all that October brings. The Rockford Public Library featured 20 local artists who were showcasing and selling their work this evening. Artists from all over had the chance to present their best work with the community and tell the stories behind their pieces. This is just another way to celebrate the art community in our area. Those at the library say lots of live music and great art were in attendance today. And one local artist says the best part of these events is getting to show off all of the hard work behind the scenes.
When I'm adding the colors, to me, that's like the most fun part, just getting those vibrant colors, bringing the piece to life, rendering it, and finally getting to that final stage. It's my most favorite part. It's just when it comes to life, finally.
This was the first art event that the library has hosted since its grand opening, so lots of artists were excited to be a part of the big day. And today, those at the Boone County Museum of History celebrated the 90th anniversary of the Funderburg House today. Now, the Funderburg House is an iconic property in Belvedere, purchased in the late 1930s by Hugh and Alice Funderburg. It was since transferred to the Historical Society in December of 2019 as the largest single donation in Boone County Historical Society history. Today, they celebrated its 90th year of existence by sharing stories from their family members. The museum also showcased their new virtual tours for those who could not experience the second and third floors of the house to make sure everyone feels at home.
A really great way. We love to welcome guests in and really make them feel like they are guests of the families that lived here. So most of the furniture in the house you can sit in. There's no red rope or anything of rooms that you're not allowed to go into. So we really try to make everybody feel like they're at home here.
Monahan says other ways to see the house is that community members can rent out the house for parties or dinners as well. Election day is within weeks, and both campaigns are working hard this weekend. Where they are and what topics they're focusing on coming up next.
A warm, windy day across the state line will give way to a slightly cooler but still windy day tomorrow. We'll let you know when the winds are expected to subside and how cool some of our overnights may be coming up in just a few minutes.
You're watching Eyewitness News, your home team, with Rianne Weil, Drew Collins, and meteorologist Jordan Wolf.
With just 30 days left until Election Day, both campaigns continue to focus on crucial swing states. Former President Donald Trump returning to Pennsylvania for a rally with supporters, while Vice President Harris visits North Carolina to see some of Hurricane Helene's devastation. Here's ABC's Zoreen Shaw with the details.
Vice President Kamala Harris traveling to North Carolina on Saturday, serving some of the devastation left behind by Hurricane Helene.
I think that these moments of crisis bring out some of the best of who we can be and who we are.
The vice president was on the campaign trail Friday in Flint, Michigan, arguing she is the candidate standing with America's union workers.
Donald Trump is no friend of labor. He encouraged automakers to move their plants out of Michigan so they could pay their workers less.
Meanwhile, Michigan's own Magic Johnson stumping for Harris.
She'll work with Republicans, she'll work with independents, and she'll work with people who don't vote for her. So that's what I love about her as well.
The Biden-Harris administration buoyed by Friday's strong job numbers. Donald Trump highlighting inflation even though it's cooling off, now at 2.5%, the smallest increase in several years.
Do you acknowledge that the economy is improving?
No, it's not. It's inflation is devastated our economy.
The former president returning to Butler, Pennsylvania Saturday afternoon, holding a rally at the same venue where he survived an assassination attempt back in July. On Friday, he visited North Carolina and Georgia, which were both hit hard by Hurricane Helene. Trump appearing with Georgia's Republican Governor Brian Kemp for the first time since Trump bashed him for standing by Georgia's 2020 election results. Zoreen Shah, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Meanwhile, in the Middle East, Israel's war with Hezbollah intensifies. The Lebanese Ministry of Health says 25 people were killed and 127 injured yesterday. In northern Lebanon, Hamas says an Israeli strike on a refugee camp has killed the Hamas official and his family. Hezbollah continues firing missiles into northern Israel, claiming to have launched at least 13 attacks today. In northern Israel, video captured some of those missiles fired by Hezbollah as they were intercepted over the neighboring village. Israel has told residents of southern Lebanon to evacuate. 1.2 million people have already been displaced.
Many people are waiting at the airport all day just so they can get their grandparents out, their mom out, or their daughters out. It's completely tragic.
Military officials say Israel is preparing a significant response. There has been talk of potentially going after Iran's nuclear facilities, but experts saying Israel could target Iran's oil industry. At a presser, President Biden said if he were in their shoes, he would consider alternatives to striking oil fields, but he said he has not yet spoken to Prime Minister Netanyahu about Israel's plans. And the number of deaths from Helene is only expected to rise as crews continue to search those hard-to-get areas. While volunteer organizations are actually going out to these spots on helicopters, towns deep into the Appalachian Mountains close to the lake are destroyed. Most of the few roads in and out were washed away. Some people think there should be more federal help, but thousands of volunteers have already jumped in to help impacted communities. While clean water is still a top priority for these hard-hit areas, volunteers are also sending in Starlinks and other technology. Some people are still without cell service. Today was warm and in the upper 80s, but it sure was windy. Find out when we cool down could be coming. Meteorologist Jordan Wolf is in next.
Now, your first warned weather forecast from meteorologist Jordan Wolf.
It was a warm and windy day across the state line today. Emphasis on that windy because we saw many spots with gusts upwards of 30 miles per hour or greater during the afternoon, including a strongest wind gust locally of 37 miles per hour in Monroe, 35 miles per hour in Freeport, the strongest wind gust 31 miles per hour in Rockford. That allowed for those temperatures really to warm up quite a bit as we headed through the afternoon. Many spots getting into the 80s. Including a high temperature of 84 degrees in Rockford. We're still very warm late into the evening in the mid and upper 70s. Right now 75 in Rockford and Dixon, 76 in Freeport, still 77 in Galena and up in Janesville, 74 the current temperature in Poplar Grove. It does remain a little bit windy here late into the evening as well. We're right now still seeing strong wind gusts close to 30 miles per hour. 29 miles per hour, the current gust in Rockford, 26 in Freeport, 33 miles per hour. Right now, the current wind gust up in Monroe, Wisconsin. But things are remaining pretty quiet outside of that wind. Our SkyTrack cameras across the region showing off now that night has fallen. We're not really seeing much in the way of cloud cover, but that may change at least for a short time as a cold front currently situated very close by is bringing a gradual increase in cloud cover. However, not bringing much in the way of precipitation, most of that remaining well up to our north earlier this evening, and even in the form of a few thunderstorms up there in parts of northern Wisconsin. Again, likely staying dry the rest of our evening tonight, but notice what happens with our wind directions. We stay pretty warm through midnight, but once that front passes, the winds flip around to come out of the northwest, keeping us quite a bit cooler as we head into tomorrow. We will see a bit more sunshine that will kind of counteract that cooler air moving in, but nonetheless, it will still be noticeably cooler tomorrow than what it was today. With that front passing, we do get a brief lapse in those winds, a little bit on the calmer side, but during the afternoon tomorrow, those gusts are right back up close to 30 miles per hour during the afternoon, but will once again calm as we head later into the evening. With the stronger winds tomorrow, we may see once again an elevated fire risk. Strong wind gusts of 30 miles per hour and relative humidity down near 30% with much drier air moving in behind that front along with dry vegetation may allow for some enhanced fire risk. So make sure that we are limiting any outdoor burning and avoiding it even if we are able to do so. That drier air does move in, dropping our dew point temperatures down into the 30s for the next couple of days with high pressure taking over, and that drier air will allow for some really cool nights to set up, especially during those overnight lows. So multiple nights in a row here, we are going to see those cooler overnights down to 40 degrees Sunday night, 41 degrees Monday night, 43 degrees on Tuesday. Meanwhile, average for this time of year for those overnight lows, much closer to the mid 40s. Now, afternoon highs will still be above average with how dry the air is, but we are going to be noticeably cooler for a few days. 69 degrees on Sunday, 68 on Monday, back up into the low 70s for a couple days, and then gradually warming even close to the 80s again by the time we get closer to next weekend.
All right, thanks, Jordan. Well, Drew's in next with sports. NIU's football team has that winning feeling again. We'll see how the Huskies got back on track today in DeKalb. And the Badgers hosted Purdue. We'll take a closer look at how that game turned out.
Sports with Drew Collins.
For the first time since the Notre Dame game, the NIU Huskies are enjoying a win. They used a strong second half to defeat the UMass Minutemen this afternoon at Husky Stadium. This was the Huskies' final non-conference game of the season. On UMass's second play of the game, the Minutemen fumbled. Defensive end Jelani Williams pounced on it for the Huskies deep in UMass territory. On the next play, Ethan Hampton rolls out. He has his fullback Brock Lamp for a 15-yard touchdown, but that was NIU's only score of the entire first half. The Huskies trailed 13-6 at halftime. To make matters worse, star running back Antonio Brown suffered an ankle injury late in the half and did not return for the rest of the game. NIU's other running backs picked up the slack in the third quarter. Freshman Jalen Poe breaks off a 22-yard touchdown run. The game was tied at 13. Early in the fourth quarter, the handoff goes to Poe again. He's into the end zone from 3 yards out. The Huskies had the lead. Later that quarter, Gavin Williams takes the handoff. He goes into the end zone for a 1-yard touchdown. The Huskies rushed for 367 yards. They defeated the Minutemen 34-20. Ohio State hosting Iowa. Buckeyes leading 7-0. Will Howard steps back and launches this one to true freshman Jeremiah Smith for the grab inside the 10. First and goal. Goal line fade, and the true freshman snags this one with only one hand. I mean, look at this grab. This kid is incredible. Howard and the Buckeyes were on fire all game long. Another set of Buckeye touchdowns, and the Hawkeyes had no answer. The Buckeyes dominate 35-7 over the Hawkeyes. And the Badgers hosted the Boilermakers. Wisconsin gives it to Tawee Walker, and they get on the board first, and this was one of many. Badgers play action. Braden Locke finds Vinny Anthony, and he's off to the races for the 52-yard tutty. Badgers now up 14-0. Third quarter action. Locke has all day to throw. He searches, and throws a bullet to Trecha Kikuhunaka for the 69-yard touchdown, and no one catches him. And when it rains, it pours, and, well, the Badgers were pouring it on Purdue in this one. The Badgers run away with this one 52-6. And not great news for the Packers as they prepare for their game tomorrow. They have quite the stir of injuries and locker room drama at the moment. Corner Jair Alexander is questionable with a lingering groin injury. Linebacker Edgerrin Cooper is questionable. Tight end Luke Musgrave is also questionable. Wide receiver Christian Watson, is doubtful following his ankle injury. And wide receiver Romeo Doubs has been placed on the suspended list for one game for the Packers. And let's take a look at this. The Packers GM Brian Gutekunst stated, "His decisions and actions during the week negatively impacted the team and required us to take action. While we are certainly disappointed, we are confident that we will be able to move forward in a positive manner." It's reported that Dobbs skipped both Thursday and Friday's practices this week. And heading into the Week 5, the Bears look pretty healthy at this point. Corner Terrell Smith has been ruled out alongside defensive lineman Zach Pickens, but wide receiver DeAndre Carter remains questionable as a game-time decision. And big news for Bears fans, Cole Kmet has been issued the green light and is ready to go. That's sports. We'll be right back.
Firefighters rescued a dog stranded almost 20 feet high up in a tree in Washington County, Tennessee, days after Hurricane Helene battered the southeast. A K-9 from the police department's search unit alerted members of the Kingsport Fire Department's technical rescue team of this stranded dog. It was perched up in the tree, and the firefighter climbed up with a ladder to retrieve it, which is so cute. The dog was happily removed from the tree, and rescuers were able to feed her, and she was returned to her owners, which is really cute.
It's always nice to see happy stories come out of those things.
I know, and it just proves, firefighters are already heroes, but this is just an extra added element of why they're heroes, because they're always saving us.
And then petting the dog the whole way down.
Yeah, come on.
Don't worry, doggy.
We got you.
Look at that face.
And look at him, happily returned on the ground. Well, anyways, hopefully no more hurricanes in the future. We don't know.
Well, we may have to worry about one end of the Gulf Coast as we head into next week. We'll talk more about that tomorrow, but at least for today, locally, thankfully, we are still very quiet through much of the week ahead. We actually are not going to see much in the way of rainfall at all. It will be a little bit windy again tomorrow, possibly some enhanced fire risk, given how strong our winds will be, but easing winds for Monday, still a bit cooler, starting to warm those temperatures back up close to 80 degrees by Friday.
Thanks, Jordan. That's our show. Thanks for joining us. Have a good night.